What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your early Monday afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets and still smarting after that loss they had yesterday at the buzzer to the Atlanta Hawks by the final score of 129 to 127 after they got their doors blown off a couple of days earlier, 131 to 87. And one of the things that the Brooklyn Nets need to work on is their defense. Their defensive rotations, their overall defensive mindsets. They need to learn how to build camaraderie and chemistry between one another. That's the one thing I wonder with this Brooklyn Nets team right now. And I talked about it briefly during my recap I did last night for the Nets game. This team right now is just lacking in chemistry. Look what happened to the Nets last year when Kevin Durant missed all that time due to injury, when Kyrie Irving was out due to the vaccine mandate, James Harden was already traded, Ben Simmons missed time, Joe Harris was out all season, Seth Curry didn't get there until the second half of the season, and that team just didn't have enough chemistry to be put together, and they ended up getting swept by 4 games to the Boston Celtics in the first round. Chemistry goes a long way with a basketball team. And right now, the Brooklyn Nets don't have chemistry. They're all playing like a bunch of individuals at the moment, trying to see if they could put themselves together in terms of being a team. But the chemistry right now is just not there. The question with the Brooklyn Nets, though, can they find a way in practice to do enough in terms of their defensive rotations with one another to fix the defense that has been a black sore right now, or black eye right now with this Brooklyn Nets team? That's the biggest question right now with the Brooklyn Nets, is the defensive end of the court. Their rotations are just not there. They're not getting out to a certain spot. They don't know where each other is going to be on the basketball court on every single play that's made. That's the one thing that I am very intrigued on what is going to happen with this Brooklyn Nets team in terms is the chemistry. Spencer Dinwiddie talked about also, which I think is a little silly, but he spoke about saying that the lack of Nets superstars is the reason why the team is not getting enough calls near the rim. I think that's a little bit of a cop-out by Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie is one of those players, as much as I like Dinwiddie, he complains way too much to the referees. Every time there's a foul or a foul that goes against him. You know how you change the narrative? You win. You win basketball games. That's how you change the narrative and how you start getting calls your way. And right now the Nets are not getting calls their ways because they're not winning. They keep losing. So if you really want calls to start going your way, Brooklyn, you've got to go out there and you've got to start winning basketball games. That's the biggest problem right now with the Brooklyn Nets. They're not winning enough. I mean, maybe the rotation needs to change up a little bit too. Because you've been going with a starting lineup. And I noticed that Jacque Vaughn is starting to round out his rotation going forward. Right now he's going with Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and Nicholas Claxton as his main 5 starters. And then off the bench he's got Royce O'Neal. He's got Cam Thomas. And then that's pretty much it. Sometimes you see Seth Curry. Sometimes you see Joe Harris. I don't know how Ben Simmons is going to factor into this whole equation when he gets back for tomorrow's game against the Bucks. But that's the thing right there too. That also goes with chemistry. Because you haven't established a consistent enough rotation within your basketball team to really see who's going to play on a night in and night out basis and where. You can't really do anything with your basketball team when you don't know what players are going to be on the court. For how many minutes. You can't build up that chemistry with this team. And like I mentioned before, look at what happened last season. You made the trade with James Harden for Ben Simmons and Seth Curry and Andre Drummond. Besides the fact the team lacked in rebounding, you didn't have enough time for this team to really build up the necessary chemistry they needed to be able to go out there and make plays on a consistent basis. So, team chemistry, learning where one another is on the basketball court, defensive rotations, defensive concepts, all that kind of stuff is built not only in practice, but over a certain period of time. So I really wonder now if the Brooklyn Nets might have just come a little bit too late. They might be a little too late in terms of building up their overall chemistry as a team. It's a shame. It really is. Because I really thought that the Brooklyn Nets would be in a little bit of a better position than they are in right now, but they're a 34-26 team coming off two brutal losses in two different fashions, and now they're just wondering what the hell do we do next. And they have a brutal 3-game stretch, like I mentioned last night, against the Milwaukee Bucks at home at Barclays Center, then a game right after on a back-to-back in Madison Square Garden against a red-hot New York Knicks team, and then you play on Friday in Boston against the best teams in the NBA in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics. The team needs to start building up chemistry and building it up quick. Because it's only a matter of time until you're going to start seeing this team slide more and more down the Eastern Conference. And you don't want to be anywhere near that play-in game by the time you get to the end of the season and potentially have an opportunity to lose your spot in the Eastern Conference standings. Head coach Jacque Vaughn says, stay together, build together. That's a great mantra to put out there. This team is going to stay together, and this team will continue to build together. The question is it too late, too little too late for the rest of this NBA season for the Brooklyn Nets to continue at their march at potentially getting a very good spot in the Eastern Conference? Or will this team continue to slide in the East and potentially not only be in a play-in game, but possibly miss the playoffs altogether? That's one of the things you have to think about going into this NBA season. The rest of this NBA season is what is going to happen with this team for the rest of the season. Well, you guys let me know in the comments section what you think about. If the Brooklyn Nets, it just might be too little too late for this team, or you think this basketball team still has a chance to regroup themselves and make a run at potentially the number 4, 5, or 6 seeds in the Eastern Conference going forward. You guys let me know in the comments section. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Give a sub to NYGJeffyT85. More news updates and chatter surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. And turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday. Take it easy and let's go Brooklyn Nets. It's a Nets world, and we're all just living in it.